Hello, and thank you so much for coming. I first met Doug last year on Colorado Day, which is August 1st, when we found each other in front of the Capitol with the hoisting of the hemp flag that went up above our Capitol. I don't know if you were aware of that, but Mike Bowman made sure that there was a hemp flag produced, and we hoisted it that day. And it was a very exciting moment. And I knew about Doug because I was aware of his previous book, Too High to Fail. So it was fun for me to meet him. And I will say Senator Suzanne Williams and Mike Bowman and I have worked since 2006 to see both that flag above our Capitol and to have an evening like this tonight at the Tattered Cover. So let me thank you, Doug, for writing such an excellent book. It's outstanding. And I would like to go ahead and let Mike Bowman take over and tell you a little bit more about the story. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Linda. I'm going to try to squeeze into a minute what would take a reasonable person an hour. I got to, again, many thanks to Linda and the Senator and many other people in this room who are part of this great movement that culminated in Colorado being the first state to end prohibition once and for all. Thank you. Thank you. I got to know Doug first by the fluke. I'd heard a story on NPR one morning, and I was sitting at a donut shop in southern Denver, which, interestingly enough, just was voted the best donut shop in Denver by Westward Magazine. I don't know if there's any connection, Doug, but Doug has been to the donut shop, and so I sent him an email, and instantly he wrote back, and we discovered that soon I would be in Arizona, and he was going to be in Arizona, so we had lunch not long after that, and just instantly just grew a fondness for each other. Since that time, our journeys have been very, interesting and gone into some very varied places. We've been in Maui and co-presented and have some common friends there as well. We've passed the Hemp Amendment to the Farm Bill. We've hoisted that flag over the U.S. Capitol on July 4th. And we've just really moved the needle on where this, where we're taking this. And Colorado just really does claim the ground on being the state that really put all this in motion. There was always that straw that breaks the camel's back, and Colorado was the one that is going to lead I'd say the full ending of this prohibition nationally in a very foreseeable future. So with that, it is with a great honor and a great pleasure that I introduce my dear friend Doug Fine, a man who has certainly made a dent and an indelible mark on my life, a man who spends his time in his New Mexico ranch milking goats when he's not out on the road, helping us and helping educate John Q. Public about these opportunities that we have before us. He's played an extremely important role nationally in changing the narrative on what we're doing here. And with that, Doug, I would like to have you come to the podium and please welcome my good friend and author, Doug Fine.
Thank you. Wow, thank you, Mike and Linda, to be mentioned, let alone praised, by people who have done as much, not just for Colorado, but for humanity. Means a lot to me, and thank you to Tattered Cover's third visit here, and you've been such tremendous supporters, as well as everybody in Denver and in Colorado. Thank you so much for having me back. And by way of starting, for me to be speaking about hemp when more than a half dozen of the people, the heroes that are making this happen, I say this as a father and a patriot, are here in the audience tonight. It's like Howard Cosell giving a talk with about boxing with Ali and Foreman in the audience going, so I have to get my facts right tonight, but also I have to honor these people, because not only would Hempbound not have been written, but we wouldn't be experiencing the rebirth of this economy and putting American farmers back to work. So the way that I'd like to do this is Veronica Carpio of Colorado Hemp Coffee brought her hemp seeds that she hopes eventually are going to go into her hemp coffee, Generation 3, I think she said, and she asked if I'd just give a little blessing. It's almost planting season. This is non-denominational, whatever, Four Winds, Buddha, Allah, Adonai, Jesus, what did I forget? Blessings to Colorado, blessings to hemp, blessings to humanity, and everybody, thank you all for coming here tonight, and let's talk about hemp. Oh, and by the way, someone who is here today, Julian, brought a family heirloom, 1731, a Dutch book printed on hemp paper in pretty darn good condition. kind enough, thank you for allowing us to have this up here tonight, as well as Veronica. Thank you for the hemp plants. They look very healthy and wonderful, and I can feel the carbon dioxide being sucked from the atmosphere. Oh my gosh, the hardest part about talking about hemp is not sounding like your roommate with the lava lamp. Because after 2 years of research, I stand here telling you that your roommate with the lava lamp was right about hemp. So how do we get this message across? The time is happening now. This year is hemp's biggest year possibly in the last 10,000, certainly in the last 77. Skipping Colorado's amazing achievements for a moment, the Farm Bill, the federal Farm Bill, thank you, Jared Polis, Colorado Congressman, allows for university research of hemp. It's a great first step. For people who have been activists for a long time, it can be a mite frustrating that only university-approved research for cultivar, which is what the varieties of hemp are known as, are approved on the federal level. Let us hope our federal agencies, any DEA agents here today? Just out of curiosity, DEA agents? Welcome if you're here. Thanks for coming, guys and ladies. We appreciate it. The Canadians have put their drug squads to work inspecting their crops, so we don't necessarily have to do a across the job firing of the DEA agents, but come on board, because it's really good for America, and stop saying all those silly things about it not being able to tell the difference between hemp and cannabis, because it's not true. So the Farm Bill, over a lot of sort of what I'll shorthand as drug warrior protests, our Congress did something, and the president signed it. Legalized hemp for the first time in 77 years. It matters. It's a big deal. Research is okay for a couple of years. The Canadians did it, and their industry is now approaching $1 billion per year, growing 24% per year. We'll get into that a little bit later on. Mike, who is one of the two hemp heroes to give the introduction tonight, this is him last July 4th in conservative Byers, Colorado. It ain't Boulder, okay? Literally replacing GMO corn with hemp. It's been a magical year, as Linda mentioned. Linda, Jason, Lau, and I want to shout out to Eric Hunter as well, people that were involved in the legislative side along with Mike in making this happen in Colorado. Colorado is ahead of federal law. Bless you people. Colorado, we were there in Boulder on the first day that the state was accepting, agriculture was accepting permits for commercial cultivation of hemp. That's further ahead than federal law. The state of Colorado is saying, let's do it, let's go. Let's generate the revenue from $300 per acre that Canadian farmers are making on their hemp plants today, which is like 10 times what they're making on GMO corn. And I should have mentioned this American hero, Ryan Laughlin. Just out of curiosity, show of hands, how many people know about this guy? Because there will be a statue of Ryan Laughlin in some prominent place in Colorado one day. Ryan Laughlin last year said, I'm going to publicly plant 50 acres of industrial cannabis on my talk about conservative, but effectively in Kansas, where he lives, in Springfield. Very conservative county on family land that gets federal subsidies for the old cycle of way of doing things. Big farm business. No, we're going to go back to hemp and show these people, show my neighbors that we can go back to the land. And what he found was, among other things, hemp takes half the water that the wheat that he had been growing in that crop, in that land takes, which means that some of his neighbors for whom the Aglala Reservoir is drying up might be able to dry crop it and start making money, heal the soil, get back to the land. Remember the name, Ryan Laughlin, he's a dude, he's a hero. I had no idea when I started researching hemp, no idea that instead of being laughed out of committee whenever the iconoclast in the House would bring a hemp bill forward, this was 2 years ago. I'd get these emails from hemp activists saying, support HR 578, the hemp, we're going to do hemp. And you get all excited, and it's like the House, basically the committees are like, yeah, no, toss it out. Then all of a sudden, it happens right when I'm back from 2 years of worldwide research on hemp and have a book about hemp coming out. So I don't know in my taxes this year, I have to thank the Congress and pay them for being part of the marketing team for this book. But much more importantly than that, they made the wish in the book's second paragraph come true. My plan the day hemp becomes legal to fully cultivate where I live in New Mexico is to begin cultivating